Libs of Tik Tok number 4. And as always, I need a cigarette and a joint for one of these videos, man. Because every time, these motherfuckers give me a headache. Let's go.
Why having queer representation and queer educators and queer education in the classroom from a young age is so that these kids will grow up to either be wonderful and accepting allies who have had this normalized in their lives from a young age. If you normalize queerness from a young age, they're more likely to be more accepting and understanding.
No, don't normalize that shit. Don't confuse children.
If they do not grow up to be good allies, I hope that those kids who later on realize that they are queer will love themselves and are able to express themselves and be proud of who they are.
Look, if you are a certain gender or orientation, be proud of who you are. But that don't mean you have to teach it to fucking children.
These kids are able to see people like them in their lives and say, hey, that person's just like me, and it's okay to be me. That is the main reason for me about why this is so important.
These people want to be victims so bad, especially these white liberal types. They've never had any real adversity in their lives, so they love being victims. Because in 2022, being a victim is fashionable.
Thank you for your question.
Like, literally, bro, I don't care what you decide to do in your bedroom or with your body. But, like, don't try to taint the minds of little children. They're kids. They don't want to be bothered with your gender nonsense. They want to fucking watch cartoons or whatever the fuck kids do these days. They want to play with toys or iPads, whatever the fuck. They want to play... What's the fucking... What is it still Angry Birds? I don't know. I don't play app games. So, I don't know. They want to do that type of shit. They don't want to learn about gender. We need to teach these kids math, geography, and better yet, and as I've said before, we should be teaching these motherfuckers how to start a business, how to get a driver's license, and maybe how to get some hoes on your dick. And maybe, like, later on in high school, obviously. We don't need to be teaching them this fucking nonsense. And the third thing was obviously a joke. Kids should not be taught about sex or anything like that. Let them be kids. Let them be innocent.
Why this is so important.
What's with that voice?
Main reason for me about why this is so important. Thank you for your question.
Sounds like a fucking bot, because that's exactly what she is.
So what is gender fun?
Whenever you see a person with blue hair, you know some wisdom is about to come out of their mouth. Not.
Gender is a spectrum. If you don't agree with that, you're not in the right place, man. But
yeah, I'm not in the right place. In my downtown Toronto condo, while you make this stupid TikTok out of your fucking parents' house. Some shithole part of town, probably.
I'm gonna go on the assumption that gender is a spectrum. On this spectrum, sometimes people identify as gender fluid, meaning they bounce between male and female or landing somewhere in between. Gender flan means that I live on the gender fluid spectrum, but I never identify as female. I usually land somewhere as non-binary or all the way male.
Look at this person. There's nothing special about them. That's why they have to come up with this shit. So that there's something that makes them feel unique. Or special. Or interesting. But it's not interesting at all. You're just like the rest of them. Like, even their fucking choice of attire and hair color is all the same. There's nothing unique about these people.
Which is why my pronouns are he or they. I don't prefer either one exclusively because neither one of those exclusively fit me on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know.
So I found out that I'm not allowed to tell
questions, don't care.
students that I'm gay because it could be seen as supporting. So I found out that I'm not allowed to tell students that I'm gay.
Yeah, no shit.
Because it could be seen as supporting a single political party.
And pedophilic and weird and inappropriate.
And it could be seen as a political issue. So if anybody asks, I just really like rainbows. I just really like rainbows. Like I really like rainbows. No politics in Miss Leia's classroom. She just really likes rainbows. Rainbow duct tape? That's just because I really like rainbows. Rainbows aren't political. Not at all. Rainbows are just colorful and fun. It's not a political thing at all.
Bro, this chick should be
just
fired
that I
from her
really
job.
like rainbows. What?
She's
this?
obviously trying to push an agenda, and she made a TikTok about it. That's how comfortable she is.
This isn't political. This is just that I really like rainbows.
So if you're not...
Bro, what if I was the teacher in that class and I put a bunch of Playboy bunnies, like a modified version of the Playboy bunny? It's not political. I'm not saying I get hoes. It's just a bunny. It's just a bunny. I'd be fired, bro, and rightfully so. But these people are allowed to do this under the guise of political correctness and all this other nonsense that we have to live through. And I don't care what she does in her personal life. Like, be gay. That's cool. I don't care. But, like, why do you have to force your shit down kids' throats? These people feel they have this compulsiveness that they want to push their agenda down other people's throats. And not just people, children now.
This isn't political. This is just that I really like
I need a
rainbows.
fucking joint, man.
So if you're not on the gay girl side of TikTok, then you might not know that at the moment, JoJo Siwa is in a little bit of hot water because she is currently dating a known Trump supporter. So of course that's calling into question if JoJo Siwa herself is also a Republican and possibly a Trump supporter. And I just have to say, as a person in marine conservation,
how terrible! Oh no, she's for freedom and prosperity, and she's probably anti-socialist. How terrible!
That JoJo Siwa is a Republican is not that ludicrous. The amount of exploitation it takes to create a JoJo Siwa is astronomical, and I mean exploitation of people and the planet. I mean, look at the merch that she creates. It's all really cheap stuff made in places where the people aren't paid a fair wage. That's how it's so cheap. And that's also how she became so popular. And over the years, as I've talked to Trump supporters and Republicans to try and understand their logic, it has generally come down to one consensus, and that's that they put their wealth and their status above the needs and basic human rights of everybody else on the planet. Which seems like it might unfortunately be what's happening here.
I have a question for the Alphabet Mafia. If you're not a member of the LGBTQIA community and you're somehow straight and found me, 1, how? And 2, just keep scrolling. So I am apogender, my pronouns are he, they, and as you can tell, I am mask presenting. So my question is this. I always get he, I almost never get the they. Because I'm mask presenting, and I do appear more masculine.
Oh, so by mask presenting, he means masculine. I thought he meant like mask, like the COVID, because he probably is a masker, I would imagine. All these people think the same. Like I said before in another video, once you establish 2 or 3 things about these people, like you know where they stand on this, for example, I don't want to say the word, once, if they're for this, the injections, you know where they stand on everything else.
Does that just negate the they?
Yeah, it does.
You're more masculine. Does that just negate the they?
Yeah, I'm not a fucking psychic, buddy.
I understand that he is my main pronoun.
I know you look fruity. I know you got the bull ring. I would see a few things about you. I'd see the colored hair, and I'd be like, okay, this guy's some kind of a weirdo, or he's into some weird shit. But I wouldn't just call you they, them without knowing you. You appear to be a man, so I would say he or him, which is the normal pronoun that has been used to describe a male of the human species for thousands of years of however long we've been speaking English. I think English is maybe like a couple of thousand years old or something like that. But yeah, you know, if I saw you, I'd be like, okay, that's a man. It's a he, him. And why would I assume anything else?
But sometimes it's nice to, hear the they portion of the pronoun. That just never happens because I appear more masculine. So I just don't know if people think it just negates the fact that the they part is there just because I'm built like a bear.
Or that they don't they think outside your paradigm. Like, these people think that everybody thinks like them, which is crazy. Like, they literally think that everybody lives in their fucking fruity world. We don't get, like normal people don't give a shit. And again, it's always somebody who's very unspectacular. His car looks messy as fuck. Doesn't look like it's anything special. He doesn't even have leather seats. It's always some fucking very unspectacular person with a very average or below average life story, never accomplished anything, no achievements. And it's always some person like that who's like, I'm a they them, I'm a ZZ, I'm a fucking rabbit.
The they part is there just because I'm built like a bear.
I have a question for other genderqueer educators. I am just finishing up my teaching degree, and I was wondering how you all respond when students or parents misgender you in a way that doesn't turn into a power struggle. Because when I've had students misgender me so far, I don't know how to respond, and usually when I correct them, they just ignore it.
Yeah, because nobody cares. People don't have to partake in your delusion. And look, like, if she came up to me, or he, whatever her preferred pronoun is, I'm guessing this is a biological female who wants to be a man, therefore the clothes and the feminine voice. And that's fine. I would say, you know, he, if this person wanted me to say he, him. But to expect that from little children who obviously know that there's something wrong with you, I don't know what world these people live in, man. And kids are kids. Some of them are probably poking fun at him or her, which I don't think is a good thing. But they're kids, man. They're kids. Kids do that shit. Lord of the Flies.
And usually when I correct them, they just ignore it.
I did.
What? Who told my kid their gender identity is valid, even if it's different from what they were assigned at birth? So this is a term these leftist loony types like to use. Birth assigned at gender. What they're saying is basically, when you're born, the doctor looks at you, opens your legs, sees the dick between your legs, and goes, okay, I think this is a boy. And to these people, to these crazy assholes, that's the doctor assigning gender at birth. You weren't born with a penis. The doctor assigned it to you. Like, this is how these people think. Like, they've even come up with their own language to describe things. Instead of saying pregnant woman, they now say birthing people. Because they want to blur the lines between what a man and woman is. That's why they keep saying men can get pregnant too. And when they say men can get pregnant too, what they're describing is a woman who transitioned into being a man, still has her womb and everything in her vagina, and gets pregnant, you know, with a short haircut. And then they say, oh, see, men can get pregnant too.
I did.
So, okay, then you should be fucking fired from your job.
What you gonna do about it?
Bro, if I was the dad, I can't even say that on YouTube.
Nothing. I did.
I don't know if I was clear the first time when I said it, so I'll be clear again this time.
Okay.
My gender is...
Oh.
And my
Any
pronouns are...
Yo, these people are literally possessed, bro. These people are... You can't tell me these people are not possessed and there isn't some kind of a spiritual warfare going on.
Pronouns are...
Yeah, bro. Look at this. Unless this is like a skit or satire or
I'll be
something.
clear again this time.
Okay.
My gender is...
Like, is that not demonic? Like, would you feel comfortable leaving your child with this person?
And my
Any
pronouns
pronouns?
are...
My specific gender identity is Maverick, which was coined by a black person, but it can be used by any person of any race, ethnicity, or other. Maverick is a gender defined by autonomy and inner conviction regarding a sense of self, which is a separate feeling of gender It's separate from any masculine, feminine, or any combination of these, but it's not to be without or neutral of gender. Mavericks can actually be multi-gender despite it being a specific gender identity. For example, a gender-fluid person may switch between male, female, agender, and maverick. There is no specific way to pass as maverick. It's a very small community and it's not very well known, but we are still valid. This was a gender coined on Tumblr by someone called Vespa H, and it was on their blog Queer as Cat, so I recommend having a look at that and having a look at all the information around it.
You know what? My gender pronoun is top dog. Or, you know, better yet, call me Tony Stark.
My New Year's resolution is to bully people into using my pronouns, because just because I am feminine presenting doesn't mean that I am a woman, and non-binary people don't owe you androgyny. So if I tell you my pronouns are they,
well, I don't owe you your pronoun then. If you don't, if that's the case, rude ass bitch. I'm trying to be nice here, being like, okay, you know what? I'll say she if you're a fucking man pretending to be a woman. But if you want to be a bitch about it,
having a look at all the information around
I don't owe you your fucking. I don't owe you modifying my language to please you.
Having a look at that and having a look at all the
pronouns is something other people give you. It's never before in history have people been able to demand that you call them a certain thing.
The information around it.
My New Year's resolution is.
But nothing makes sense these days. You know, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This is all at some level by design, done on purpose. I'm not saying these people are part of a big conspiracy or something like that, but overall this is all done by design to blur the lines, to confuse people, to make people not trust their own judgment, and suspend your own thought systems and replace those thought systems with this, so that you're confused and like a cog in the machine, a bot, a peon, a NPC, non-playable character with no thoughts of your own.
To bully people into using my pronouns.
These people, they pretend to be so unique, but they're all the same exactly. Like you, from the glasses to the hairstyles to the way they talk, the slow my pronouns, the low energy, they're all the same. Yet their whole thing about the pronouns is supposed to be how unique they are, but they're really not unique at all.
Pronouns, because just because I am feminine presenting doesn't mean that I am a woman, and non-binary people don't owe you androgyny. So if I tell you my pronouns are they, he, you're gonna use they, he, bitch.
No, I ain't gonna.
More.
Fuck
So
you,
if I tell you my pronouns are
you're gonna be rude.
they, he, you're gonna use.
Yo, if somebody came up to me like that, I'm like, no, I'm gonna call you whatever I want then. I'm a courteous and nice person to everybody, even people I don't like necessarily or disagree with. You know, unless you disrespect me, I'm very respectful. But if somebody comes up with me with this attitude, bro, forget the pronoun. We might have other problems.
And non-binary people don't owe you androgyny. So if I tell you my pronouns are they, he, you're gonna use they, he, bitch.
More wholesome stories about discussing my gender with my students.
Why are you discussing your gender with your students, bro? Send her back to China and let her repeat this shit. Because you know China, they've banned womanism. I don't want to say the F word. They've banned womanism. They're saying no to all this trans shit, which I don't really agree with. I think people should be allowed to make their own decisions. But China's doing it because they know it's going to weaken their society. This stuff, whatever's not good for the family is not good for the nation. Because at a very individuals make families. Families make communities, communities make cities, cities make states, and states make countries. The smallest part of that equation is the individual, and then it's the family. And if this is obviously all anti-family because these people don't reproduce. And that's why now they want to talk about adopting straight people's kids, which I think is strange in itself. But without going off on too much of a tangent, let's get back into the video.
So I have one student who
This is the video I've interrupted the most, and it's because there's so much to break down here. And, you know, I think I've been going on 15 minutes. I'm not sure, but out of a 7-minute video, I think we're probably at the 15 or 20-minute mark now, because there's so much shit to unpack here. Like, sometimes I think to myself, these people can't be serious. This has to be a skit. But it turns out then they're real people.
Ever since I explained to my students that I was non-binary, it's been living in his head a little bit. I think that he is still confused and
he's confused as to why you had to tell him that.
It doesn't upset him, but it's something that, like,
no,
clearly he's
him.
like processing, because he'll ask me questions fairly often about it. So we are doing arts and...
You're just a woman who's very, very average looking with a receding hairline, and there's nothing unique or special about you. So you make up pronouns and you say you're non-binary and you say you're an ice cream, just in some hope of making you more interesting as a person. It's never some attractive, funny, rich person, except for like Caitlyn Jenner. That's the only prominent one, and he went full trans. But it is with a couple of exceptions in Hollywood, and I think what he did was intentional. And there was different reasons behind that. I'll break that down in another video. But it's never it's never an interesting person or somebody who's actually successful in real life, and then they come out and say, well, I'm non-binary. It's always these weird Hollywood celebrity types or people like her.
And crafts, again, I guess arts and crafts is a good time to have conversations. Things are quiet, kids are focused.
They're supposed to be doing art, not talking about your genitals.
Walking around checking on how they're doing. So he and his friend are sitting down.
Imagine doing some finger painting, and then this fucking ghoul-like creature comes up behind you. It's like, hey Sandy, did you know I was gender non-binary? What does that mean?
When in drawings, I go up to their table, and he goes, Teacher Rebecca, are you ever going to decide if you want to be a girl or a boy? So I say, well, it's...
Yeah, bitch, make up your mind. I just want to do some finger painting. And you're creeping me out. That's probably what she wanted to say, but kids are not very articulate.
Not really a decision like that, and you don't have to choose between one or the other. I already figured out that I'm neither.
The choice was making for you in your mother's womb. You don't want to accept it, and that's fine. You know, like I said before many, many times, I don't mind being courteous and polite and playing along with these people, because I'm a good man. I don't like hurting people. I don't like hurting people who haven't hurt me. So I would use her preferred pronoun as long as it was a word in my English vocabulary already. I'm not going to learn a new pronoun. I'm sorry. But then to start talking to kids about this shit, man, it's completely unacceptable. And I can't believe that it's gotten so bad that these people are like making TikToks about it, and they're so comfortable saying that they have these conversations with their students. Some of them in middle school. There was another teacher who was talking to kindergartners about this shit. Bro, kindergartner doesn't even know his face from his foot. Like, why would you be talking about this shit? Look at her eyes, man. These people are weird. There's something weird about these people. Like, just look at her face for a second. I'll give you guys a minute. Look at her face. Why can't we have people who are actually successful or like interesting, cool people to be teachers? Why is it always some like loser?
Do I seem like a girl to you? Do I act like a girl? And he said, you kind of act like a girl and a boy. And I say, would you prefer if I acted more like a girl? And he kind of paused, and he was like, I think if you acted like a girl, I would be less confused. So I said,
you can't make this shit up, man.
Understand that. I know that, you know, I look like a girl, so it would...
And you are a girl.
Be less confusing if I acted like one too.
The kid wants you to cut it out.
And I turn over to his friend and I say, what about you? Do you think I'm confusing? And his friend just goes, no. I say, do you think that I'm a boy or a girl? No. Oh, what do you think I am? I think you're a boy and a girl.
Yeah, I think she's taking testosterone because her hairline's falling back. Maybe she's in the middle of transition. I don't know. But a lot of these they/them type women, I've been noticing they have receding hairlines. So maybe it's the testosterone that's fucking up their shit. She's right now. She's at a Norwood 2.
And that gave me a certain amount of euphoria. Like, even though I don't identify as either a girl or a boy, I think what he was saying, you know, being 8 years old, was that that's how he interprets me as a person. He interprets me as a blend. And that works, because that is in a way how I am. My gender moves, and my gender is not either. And I have both feminine and masculine qualities to me. So I'm glad that
I did not spot a single masculine quality about this chick except the receding hairline.
They're getting it. And I'm glad that they're curious too.
Before we get started, I want to position myself as a white woman and acknowledge my own privilege and experiential lens or way of knowing the world is that of a white woman in the United States. I continue to examine my own internalized racism and socialization, and I embrace and I'm grateful for this journey of learning to be an anti-racist and reduce harm personally and professionally. And now we will continue our conversation. We realize and acknowledge that discussions about race and equity are difficult and they may be uncomfortable. But to get the most out of our conversation today, we all need to be fully engaged. So this will be scary. We'd like for you to have your cameras on. We will keep ours on. Again, a little bit scary. And in the breakout rooms and activities, please speak your truth, but definitely speak.
There's no such thing as your truth. The truth is not subjective. It is objective. There's no such thing as your truth. Whenever someone says your truth, I know they're a leftist loony, because only leftists use that term. It's as if to say there's such thing as my truth and then your truth, and those could be completely different from each other but still be true at the same time. No, the truth is the truth.
And finally, we only have a short time together today. We plan to provide...
Just like in a court of law, a defendant who's on trial for murder, his truth is going to be, I didn't do it. But the camera's tape might say he did it. So what, you're going to let him go because his truth is that he didn't do it? He might even think that. He might be a schizophrenic. That might actually be his truth, that he was in his apartment that day watching Netflix, but when in reality he was committing a murder. He might not even know it. The brain is a weird thing. So then are you going to let him go because his truth?
Provide an overview and then leave you with some concepts to think about.
This is a banger, yo. I'ma put this in the Benz. Get all the hoes. Imagine pulling up with this jam. Getting all the bitches, bro.
real quick, I feel like this one needs a little.
So this is the kid whose channel it is, who compiled these videos together. His channel is Big Nick. So shout out to Big Nick. And everybody go follow his channel. Let's see what he says about this.
Context. So basically, what's happened in this clip you're about to see. This is an eighth grade teacher at a middle school in Rhode Island. All the whole school's on lockdown for a weapons threat. So they're in their classrooms. They're probably like huddled down, trying to hide in case there's an actual threat. And the teacher, the eighth grade teacher here, starts yelling at them for being too close together without wearing masks. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, here you go.
So that was, he was explaining what this was. I was a little confused about this and distracted by the banger that was playing. But he was talking about how there was an active school shooter and some teacher was complaining, and all these kids now in schools, we had the same kind of drill when I went to high school. There's drills, active shooter drills, and it's like a fake fire alarm, but for a shooting scenario. And the teacher makes you get under the desk, and everybody has to hide. And the kids were hiding. Two of them at the same time under a table, and the teacher was yelling at them for not wearing masks or being too close together. Imagine trying to impose COVID rules while there's an active shooter blowing people's brains out. This is how crazy these people are, man. They're out of their minds, literally. The more I watch these videos, I'm like, yo, these people are actually retarded.
100,000 people so far, and you people don't have the good common sense to stay away from each other that we ask you 50 times a day? How stupid.
Oh, this is the video he was talking about.
Can you be that 50 times a day the adults are saying, put your mask up and stay 3 feet apart? And do you think Mrs. Schofield and I just want to be here till 2:36? Did we do this? This is because your peers are making stupid decisions. Just like the decision you all made to just stand next to each other, take a picture, have your masks off. You're all making bad decisions, and that's why we get stuck in stupid, boring assemblies to hear about stupid behavior you should already know not to do. This is a year of stupid behavior by... So why don't you start pressuring your peers to stop?
These Karens are out of control, man. Imagine a Uvalde school shooter scenario, or Columbine. And you got like a guy outside with an AR-15 taking people out one by one. And then you have this Karen standing on top of you. So, you did not wear your mask, and now we're going to be staying here until 2:30, okay? These people never had anything actually bad happen to them. That's why the average white liberal, or the average white person, even average Canadian in this country, even a brown person born in this country, they've never really been through any real shit, any real trauma, they don't have any real problems. That's why they make up pronouns. That's why they make up fake racism when none exists. Because life's too easy here. In other countries, they have to worry about feeding themselves and, wars and all this other kind of shit. But here, life's too easy. So people, the brain looks for problems sometimes when there isn't any, because we're naturally, as humans, we're problem solvers. So the brain starts looking for problems to solve when there's like no real issues to tackle. That's why there's a saying: the idle mind is the devil's playground.
We're gonna get it soon, and then we can play. Yay! I'm so excited. We will get to play together when it's done. The shot. We will get to play together when it's done. The shot. We will get to play together. We will get to play together. We will get to play together when it's done.
I can't
The
wait
shot.
to get my 5th booster shot. Now these people are talking about... I call this out. There's a video of me on Instagram recorded in January of this year where I was talking about how there's going to be more booster shots. There's going to be a 4th, 5th booster shot. Now they are talking about 4th, 5th booster shot. Now they're talking about taking booster shots every 3 months for a disease with a 99.9% survival rate.
So yesterday I found out that my grandfather, who lives in Florida, has COVID-19 and he is not vaccinated. And you would think from coming from a family of medical doctors that he would take the vaccine, but no. But you would also think from someone who lost their son during the HIV and AIDS epidemic that he would take a pandemic seriously, but no. So if he dies, I would be upset. But right now, I do not have any sympathy. Because if he dies, he's just going to be another number.
Man, I didn't think 2022 was gonna start off this dope, but damn it, did it start off awesome! Watch this!
Probably spoke the truth.
Suspended from Twitter! Gone! Goodbye! So deserved, too. I've been waiting for this, man. I've been waiting for this for months, for years now. Trump got banned for misinformation. This person has been spewing misinformation for years now.
Imagine waiting years and years for someone else to be taken off a social platform. Imagine that being the highlight of your life. How empty is this person?
Good job, Twitter. Thanks for starting off 2022 perfectly.
At this point in my life, a pickup truck with an American flag attached to the back speeding down a street gives me pause, and I look for safety.
What?
Perfectly.
At this point in my life, a pickup truck with an American flag attached to the back speeding down a street gives me pause, and I look for safety.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. These people have no real problems. There's no real enemy, no real threat. And so they make up issues where none exist. And black people have historically suffered in America. The history is pretty clear on that. Slavery was terrible, and it's a stain on the American flag that will probably stay there forever. But then her to say that she feels threatened or scared seeing an American flag in a country where actually her, even as a black woman, she's statistically the most safe. She's not going to be any safer in Africa. And that's a fact. And that's what I'm saying. These people are ungrateful. They don't have any real problems. Western society has spoiled them. And this is a result. So subscribe to the channel, guys, and like the video if you guys want me to keep making this content. It definitely takes a lot of weed to go through all these people. I wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. So yeah, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one.